Hi, this is Rick from RArecordings. Sorry for the bad audio, but I've got kind of a cold. As some of you may know, I'm not only a sound engineer, but I'm actually also a drummer. Trouble is, I don't have the facilities to practice at home, so I would have to rent a rehearsal space, and till now I did this because I had a band locally here, but that has changed. I'm also the drummer in a band called Martyr. They're based in Utrecht, which is like 200 kilometers from here. And since I don't have the facilities to practice at home, it was getting increasingly hard to study new material. So I was thinking maybe I should get an e-kit for home practice purposes, because I do have a room where I can set up the thing. And I went online and I looked around and I saw this brilliant drum kit by Atomon called the Millenium 850 series. And there was a lot of material online, especially reviews talking about it, but no one had adequate video showing or actually letting hear how this thing sounded when you hooked it up to an VST, like EZdrummer or something like that. So I thought, well, maybe it's time somebody did. So that's what this video is. I used some synthesizer tracks below it. I just programmed something simple and just went behind the kit. This was my very first try out playing on the thing. So I wanted to hear how it sounds straight out of the box, hooked into a plugin. The drum sounds that are in the module itself are a lot of fun, but they're not particularly accurate. They're good enough to just jam along or practice something. It's okay, but not for recording or anything better than that. The plugins of the VST plugins are miles and miles ahead of this. What is fun though are the emulations of the digital drums, like the 808, the 909, some classic rock things. You could even play some retro wave with this, some 80s synthie pop. That's very cool and very expressive, so I liked it for that. But if you hook this thing up to EZdrummer, and I didn't have to configure anything out of the box, it didn't even have to select any preset plugin or preset template for the drum kit. It just worked fine. The only thing he did was two of the rims of the toms, they are now also a crash function. But since I don't hit rims on the toms, it took for me forever to even figure out that it was like that. Okay, enough rambling. I just made some synthesizer tracks and I drummed along to it. I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, like always, and I hope I hear from you or see from you in the future. I've used the kit for a few days now. I have to say, the whole thing is very solid. I don't have any problems with the rack or the toms. Everything stays in place nicely. It's of course a little bit smaller than a standard drum kit, but I'm somebody who puts his cymbals real high and his toms wide apart. I use a double bass kit, so I can't compare actually. The sounds are really good if you hook up a VST, of course. Just be prepared to put a very high, if you want very fast, very little latency, you have to put the sample rate up. Try to get 69 kilohertz. It can also work at 48, of course, and put the buffer size as small as possible in the control of your interface. You will need an audio interface, of course, to get this latency free. In my case, of course, I use the Zoom R8 at 69 kilohertz, and it gives me a latency of 1 point something milliseconds in, and the total latency out is like 5 or 6 milliseconds. If you play it like that, you will feel a little bit of delay, but you can play with it. And bear in mind, I'm a drummer, I play acoustic kit, so if I can get away with it, so can you. And I can actually play along to a synthesized track, so without you hearing any lag or latency or anything. So it's acceptable, it's good, it's workable. So you could also have the option to only record the VST or the MIDI and still use the headphone out of the drum module itself. That will give you even less latency. Okay, I would definitely buy this kit again. The better heads that are on there, they're the mesh heads, and they're easily replaceable. I think a new mesh head for Millenium itself is like €7.50, so it's even cheaper than a standard head. It came with some very light, cheapish drum kits drumsticks that I would normally never use. But in this case, because they're lighter, they make less of a racket. So they're actually pretty good to use. The thing itself isn't very loud. I went to a hardware store and I got some boards that you use for under laminate floors. And I got some carpet to put over that just to get rid of any floor contact. But I haven't heard the neighbors complain or anything. It's not that loud, so that's all okay. Okay, I'll keep you updated if anything else should occur. And I'm signing off for now. Bye. PS, if you want a video about hooking the eKit up with latency, interface, everything, just drop me a comment.